Philippines, city volunteers carry out relief work in Bohol province for quake survivors. A kind-hearted dentist, Wang Huiming, safeguards the health of those in Taiwan's Jiansi Township. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. First up in the Philippines, an earthquake struck the island province of Bohol on October 15th, leaving some 190 dead, more than 680 injured, and displacing some 300,000 residents. To help, city volunteers arrived at the worst-hit areas with consolation cash and blankets, and also carried out an initial disaster survey.
At the airport, city volunteers and team of doctors are ready to depart. They will be leaving from Manila for Bohol, which is an island 620 kilometers away. On the island, debris from the quake-damaged buildings is scattered all over the streets. During their disaster survey, the volunteers visited the 5 worst-hit areas to check on the damage. Local government office was forced to close. Quake survivors were all evacuated to safety.
This house was erected on 4 pillars, which couldn't sustain the power of the earthquake, so the house just fell into the sea.
As aftershocks continue to occur, many disaster survivors are still too frightened to return home.
I put up this tent as a temporary shelter because I'm still frightened by the aftershocks, which might collapse my house. The aftershocks really worry me a lot.
I'm so distressed and desperate. I still can't believe that the home I have lived in for years just collapsed.
Houses and buildings are recoverable. However, the grief of the families who lost someone in the quake is hard to overcome.
Thank you, Tzu Ji. Thank you so much for giving us quake survivors timely assistance. Thank you very much.
After Tzu Ji volunteers hand out consolation cash and blankets, they continue their work surveying the needs of further survivors.
Moving to the United States, the September flood in Colorado devastated the lives of local residents, including many Mexican immigrants in the state. With their homes destroyed and harvest season over, many of these immigrants have struggled to get back on their feet. To reach out to those in need, city volunteers arrived at the Our Lady of Peace Church in Greeley City to distribute relief items and cash cards.
It is currently -3 degrees in the state of Colorado, and frost has formed on car windows. Despite the early hours, city volunteers are heading over to the Our Lady of Peace Church in Greeley City for an aid distribution.
We will explain to the recipients that this love came from Mr. Zheng Yan in Taiwan.
Before the start of the aid distribution, the outside of the venue is already filled with flood survivors.
I was living in Eastwood Village, the mobile homes that was floating, and I have 9 kids, my grandson and my daughter-in-law. There's 12 people, because it was really hard to leave my kids in the street. We didn't have a place to stay, so
I had nothing. Just to think that I had no home for my kids. I was alone with my 3 kids, and I had nothing now. My home was gone. It was really hard, all day thinking about my home. It was gone. I had nowhere to go.
This time, most of the recipients are Mexican immigrants that work as laborers in farms. As harvest season is already over and without a roof over their heads, many worry that they won't be able to pull through the harsh winter.
So the first days I couldn't. I was crying so much. So much. Because it's really, really hard, and I know I'm a strong woman, but not this time. But I'm gonna try to cry myself, not in front of my kids, because I didn't want my kids to be more sad.
To lighten up the atmosphere, Tzu Ji volunteers lead the group in dance and sing along songs. To make sure the aid distribution runs smoothly, 20 volunteers from other states and local volunteers work continuously for several hours. The next day, the volunteers held another relief distribution in Leon City, together helping a total of 142 households in 2 days.
I'm very happy that I can help others.
I woke up at 5 o'clock and then we came here about 7. I'm very tired, but I'm happy that I was able to help out, and it kind of opened my eyes that not everyone is so lucky.
Thanks to love and care from Tzu Chi volunteers, these flood survivors have regained their smiles and the strength to move on. Touched by the volunteers' gestures, many recipients also donated their love to help those in greater need.
Prior to the annual winter aid distributions in China, volunteers will first pay visits to the homes of their care recipients. With every visit, they also thoughtfully bring a housewarming gift of sweets. However, these are no ordinary sweets, but in fact a donation by a dry foods company in Zhangzhou, as well as the result of the hard work of dozens of volunteers who pack the gifts by hand.
Here at this food company in China's Zhangzhou, volunteers prepare bag after bag of snacks. The owner of the company, who is also a Tzu Chi volunteer, has been donating these sweets to Tzu Chi since 2003. The master said that it is better to give than receive, so having an opportunity to give is a blessing. This year, some 8,000 bags of sweets were donated. Fortunately, a large number of volunteers have stepped up to help with the necessary packing. Every year we come here, we have more people helping. This is very moving. Inside each of these gift packs is not only food, but also the love of Tzu Chi and its volunteers.
The production line needs to be effective, that way the gift bags won't be missing items. Now the line stretches to all the way to back there, but every bag is complete with nothing lacking.
At first, some of the volunteers were unfamiliar with the work, but in no time they got the hang of it. We focus on each bag one by one. That way we find joy. We want to use our love to help those in need. After each bag is finished, the gifts are then sealed in boxes, after which they will be delivered to the waiting hands of care recipients throughout China. Here in Fujian's Changtai County, care recipients are happy to once again see their friends in blue and white.
Changtai is a remote area. Although it is a neighbor to Xiamen, it still has many poor areas and many people who suffer alone without access to help. These people need our love, so we are working together to bring them our assistance.
Thanks to the volunteers' love and care, these elderly and sick can find relief from their pain and joy in the coming days.
In our continuing report on Newshoot Scholarship recipients, today we meet a brother and sister pair, Zhang Yuxiang and Zhang Yuwen, who study at Taoyuan's Zhongxin Junior High School. Given the pair's demonstration of filial piety at home and excellent school performance, Tzu Chi decided to award them with this year's Newshoot scholarships in hopes of encouraging them to keep up their efforts in face of future challenges.
After the classes are finished, Zhang Yuxiang and Zhang Yuwen rush home to help their mother sort recyclables. Having suffered from a visual impairment since young, Zhang's mother was unable to find a job after her divorce. Collecting recyclables therefore becomes the only way for the family of 3 to make a living.
I don't feel embarrassed about sorting recyclables because practicing recycling is not only a way to help my mom, but also a way to protect our environment.
At home, Zhang Yuxiang often does housework to relieve his mother's burden. Moreover, he's serious about his schoolwork and is one of the top 5 students in his class.
They help me do household chores. They are really thoughtful as they understand my disability. Besides, Yuxiang will help his sister with her homework.
To help the brother-sister pair keep improving in their schoolwork, Tzu Chi volunteers invited them to join Tzu Chi's Newshoot after-school class. There, their performance was praised to no end.
Although I have retired from teaching, I am still happy to teach such an excellent student. It is a pleasure.
For them, the key to improving their financial condition is through education. Yuxiang has decided to apply for a private school, which will offer him a scholarship.
This year, Zhang Yuxiang and Zhang Yuwen once again received Tzu Ji's New Shoot Scholarship.
I'm very happy to see them both because they are good kids.
I like to study because I want to help other people with the knowledge I have learned in school, and I hope to help my family live better off.
Thanks to the Tzu Ji volunteers' care and assistance, the day that the family of 3 leaves poverty behind is one step closer.
Also in Taiwan, Jingsi Books and Cafe young volunteer Zhen Cixin, after taking part in a performance of the Sutra of Innumerable Meanings, has incorporated the Dharma she gained into every aspect of her life. Zhen not only inspired her family to adopt to a vegetarian diet, but also shares the wisdom she has gained with them.
For children, when practicing sign language, it's easy to fall behind and forget the movements. But fortunately, Zhen Cixin is here to help out. Cixin's teacher has incorporated Jingsi aphorisms and Buddhist scriptures into the curriculum, hoping to convey goodness through stories and songs. Since they took part in the sutra performance, they have changed a lot. They tell their dads they don't want to eat meat, they want vegetarian food. Their behavior and mannerism have improved a lot as well. Cixin helps out at the local Jingsi Books and Cafe during her holidays. Through various tasks, she has learned how to put the Dharma into practice. Perhaps it's her teacher's guidance. When she gets angry, she will use the Jingsi aphorisms she learned in class to calm herself down. She also educates us in a way. When we get angry, she'll remind us that losing our temper is temporary insanity. Whenever Cixin is at home, she will always help out around the house. Her grandfather has been touched by his granddaughter's thoughtfulness.
What surprised me most was one time, after we had finished our meal and her mother was washing the dishes, Cixin took a cloth and began cleaning the table. Afterwards, she rushed over to her mom, wanting to help her wash the dishes.
A long-term vegetarian, Cixin's actions have influenced her family to also follow suit. Cixin aspires to one day devote herself to bettering society. Through giving, it has made me realize what true wealth is. I am honored to dedicate my humble self to you.
In Taiwan, we meet a kind-hearted dentist Wang Huiming, who originally opened a practice in Zhubei, but relocated his clinic to the remote regions of Jiansi Township 3 years ago. Though the number of patients and his income have declined, however, what he gained in return was an indescribable sense of accomplishment from helping children in remote areas.
I'm Wang Huiming, the only dentist in Jiansi Township, and I have been the dentist for nearly 30 years.
He makes me feel at ease because it's scary to go to the dentist. His tone is soothing and he is willing to communicate with us. I always tell him to take good care of his health because our teeth are in his hands. If he wasn't around, dental visits would be less convenient.
This dental clinic is only a little over 33 square meters, but my patient service region covers quite a large area. In truth, oral hygiene practices need to be taught from a young age, so every Wednesday and Thursday, I will make rounds to various Jiansi elementary schools to give the students a dental checkup. I will use games, prizes, and stickers to close the gap between me and my young patients.
Dr. Wang gets along very well with the children. He knows how to make them feel comfortable, and he has plenty of love to give. Even if they are afraid at first, in the end, the unfamiliarity is gone and they are the best of friends.
Some patients are afraid of seeing a dentist or think they are mean. A few years ago, when I first started making my rounds at the schools, my dental equipment was very basic and my patient chair was a long chair or a table. In the end, Hsinchu County Medical Association along with Hsinchu County Health Bureau teamed up to fundraise and purchase second-hand dental chairs and dental equipment for each school to give the children in remote areas a more comfortable dental visit.
Here in the mountain, it's guaranteed the children will have cavities. To ask parents to take their kids to see a dentist is not without effort. We have to constantly urge them to go.
If you ask me how much my efforts will accomplish, it will be hard for me to come up with a number, but no matter what, I will carry on with my mission. I'm already in my 50s. My previous dental clinic was in Zhubei, but I want to continue servicing Jianshi Township until my retirement. The work in the mountain regions is more challenging, but what I receive in return is an indescribable sense of accomplishment.
Teachings from 11 colleges and universities around Taoyuan recently gathered in the gardens of the Tzu Zongli grounds for a day of farming. There, the students learned how to best grow crops as well as the effort that goes into growing food.
Tzu with their white hats and gloves arrived for a taste of the farming life. But before they could get their hands on the hoes, they first need to learn how to weed.
The weeds of ignorance are what we need to uproot. The meaning of this is to make sure we pluck these weeds from their root. We need to get rid of them all. In that way, our heart will be clear from ignorance.
The students quickly realized that in farming, every little action requires patience and attention, from hoeing to sowing to watering. Seeing the work that precedes and follows the planting of crops, the Tzu come to see the food on their plate in a different light.
I learned how hard it is to be a farmer. In the future, I will try out a lot more vegetables.
If every person can finish what is on their plate, there will be no starvation in the world.
From this day on, the health of these plants rests on the shoulders of these Tzu. Once the plants are ready to eat, the students will proudly share the fruits of their harvest with the students in their New Shoot Scholarship tutor classes.
Recently, 10th graders of the Tzu Senior High School in Hualien visited senior residents at a local nursing home. The performances and interactive games brought cheer and laughter to the home. In all, it was an unforgettable day for the seniors, and students gained plenty of joy through this awarding experience as well.
Pouring their heart into the performance, 188 10th graders from Tzu Senior High School are here at the East Home of Senior Citizens. Affected by the students' energy and vitality, seniors also join in the fun. Seeing a smile appear on the grandpa's face, Mai Huishan felt a sense of accomplishment as she learned to empathize and be patient in her interactions with the seniors.
They actually want to join in the fun as well, but they can't. When we ask them questions or chat with them, they respond and it makes them happy. When they're happy, it makes us happy too.
Students taking part for the first time also come to realize the importance of companionship, and they promise to start with their own grandparents at home.
When you leave early in the morning and come back late at night, the elders get bored at home, so they need someone to chat and interact with them.
At the end of the event, not only did the seniors have the time of their lives, students also gained a valuable lesson, which is to cherish each opportunity to fulfill filial duties and practice good deeds.
Since its opening in August of this year, the Kaohsiung Jingsi Hall has attracted many nearby residents. One such person is 63-year-old Du Meizhu, who has been practicing recycling for more than a decade. Recently, Du went to help out at the Environmental Education Center and reconnected with her childhood friend Zhou Sanzhu, whom she has not seen for over 50 years. Now the pair practices recycling together each day, hoping to create more fond memories through doing good deeds.
This is 63-year-old Du Meizhu, who has been practicing recycling for over a decade. Recently, she began practicing recycling at the Kaohsiung Jingsi Hall and coincidentally reunited with her childhood playmate.
She has 8 sisters. She is the second one. I was her 5th sister's classmate and I sat next to her.
It's been 50 years. She moved to Kaohsiung and lived on Dalian Street. When she got married, and my family and I stayed on Harbin Street, which is just one street down. We didn't even know. It's incredible. And we both came to practice recycling at Tzu.
From childhood playmates to now grey-haired seniors, the pair reports to the recycling station each day. Apart from recollecting their childhood days, they now have something else in common, and that is Tzu.
We're just like family. We sort recyclables here every day. We're here every day and we're walking on the Tzu path together.
We help each other out. We collect plastic bags together. We do everything together. I often say that the recycling station has become our paradise.
For Du Meizhu and Zhou Sanzhu, practicing recycling with old friends brings them vigor and energy, and the pair promises to continue on the Tzu path to create more memories for the future.
In Australia, after a successful event held for the staff members of State Emergency Service in Ipswich in March this year, Tzu volunteers were recently invited back to hold another blessing ceremony. Besides the mayor of Ipswich and government officials, family members of these rescue workers all came together in sincere prayer and also enjoyed a delicious vegetarian meal prepared by the volunteers. Holding their palms together in sincerity, Gold Coast Tzu volunteers are holding a blessing ceremony for staff members of the State Emergency Service in Ipswich, Queensland. Along with their co-workers and family members who have supported them through good and bad, these rescue workers and Tzu volunteers all pray for a world free from disasters. Having formed good affinity with Tzu through the organization's flood relief work, Ipswich residents, despite coming from different ethnic and religious backgrounds, recognize Tzu's philosophy and thus are willing to try a meatless diet. A senior resident who Tzu has long cared for shares her thoughts after adopting 108 days of vegetarianism.
I keep going because I like it, makes me feel very, very healthy. And my skin improves. I'm now 66.
Tzu volunteers hope to inspire more residents to safeguard the planet through vegetarianism. Back to Taiwan at the end of today's show, Malaysia and Singapore Tzu volunteers brought on a trip to Taiwan, visited the Tainan DaAi Kindergarten in hopes of learning about the school's curriculum and educational philosophy. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.